Hi everyone, this video is to show you how you should be keeping all of the stuff from this course. If you remember on the Unit 1 test, the Deviance test, or the Unit 1 test, whichever class you're in, you needed to go back and use some of your old notes or learning activities. So you can imagine, come the final exam, that you're going to need to have easy access to all of your stuff. So I strongly urge you to choose one of these methods or something different. It's entirely up to you. What works for you is what you should do. I'm going to show you two possible ways to be keeping track of all of your notes. So this is what I've been doing is I just created one document and it lives in my HSB. That's the course, one of the course codes. I have an HSBE for e-learning folder since I've also taught these courses face to face. So I'm trying to keep the stuff separate. And in there, one of the documents I have is this one with just the part of the course code and then the year, and this is S for spring semester as opposed to fall. So here we have an order by unit, all of the different links, and you can see that in this scenario, because I'm in a doc, I've added little descriptions. I haven't taught this particular course in a number of years, so everything is sort of new again, and so that I remember come time to create the exam for you, so that I will remember what information was in which activity or which notes, I'm writing little descriptions for myself, which I highly recommend for you since it's also your first time doing these activities. So it might be helpful to put a little bit of information here about what's in each of these links. Your other option, one of your other options, is to create bookmarks. So hopefully by now you've got, if you know how to use bookmarks, if you don't know how to use bookmarks, which I didn't until about a month ago, you should try it because it is awesome. It saves me tons of time. Here are all of the links that I use frequently, and they all live here in my Google Drive. This is when I log into Google Chrome, actually. So what you can do is when you're in any sort of a link, you click on the star here and you make a bookmark. And what you can do is there is something, I don't know if you can see them the way this thing is situated. Here we go. These little lines, you can go to bookmarks and then go to the bookmark manager, and this is where you can create all of your different folders, and you can see you have subfolders within folders. So I now have folders for all three of the courses that I'm teaching currently. Right now, all I'm really warehousing there are TED Talks. So these are TED Talks that have shown up as I'm searching for other things, or in this case, these are TED Talks that some of the students in this class, some of you, put in your test, I think it was. And so if I thought those might be interesting for next time in this course, then I put them here. Some of them ended up here because I thought they might fit for me in this course this semester. So you could conceivably have your courses here and then have all of the links. Now, to me, I think for your purposes as a student right now, this is probably going to be more work than you want to do in terms of when you have to go and get stuff, because you're going to have to click into the different units. Whereas if you have something like this, if you have this open for the exam, the first thing you would do is go and open this doc. And then as you need things, you would just open them up and use them and then close them down. But you would always be sort of shopping in one spot, in one doc. And you can see, as you probably noticed, I'm doing on assignments and learning activities, color is your friend in the Google Doc world. It's amazing to be able to highlight things using color where we couldn't do that on paper documents just a few years ago. So do whatever works for you. Highlight things, use different fonts, whatever you think makes sense. For me, this is easy enough for me to look at one glance. What are the things that we've been doing? Okay, so bookmarks or this kind of stuff in a doc, it's entirely up to you. Just make sure that somewhere you have a version of everything. The other thing you need to understand is that even if one of these is an assignment that I made a copy of for you and put in your shared with me folder, you can move that around. So you can go here to the file folder and move an item elsewhere. Follow the arrows and move it somewhere else. So you could also have folders instead of these docs, instead of this doc. But I would suggest doing this. You may also want to be keeping things in folders as you go. So you can do that. There's one last thing. Oh yes, grade 12 students. You may be starting to think about when you are finished with Halton and you graduate, what becomes of all of your Halton Drive stuff. I'm pretty sure your account dies. And so probably anything that you've created in the Halton Cloud will be gone. You will no longer have access because your account won't exist. So I would suggest that you create, if you don't already have one, an external Google account. You can see I have one, and actually I create everything there and then share it with my Halton self. So that if Halton decides one day that they're no longer interested in being part of the Google world, I will still have all of my stuff. It all belongs to me. Now, I've been asking a few people, and I think the best way to do this would be to share these documents with your external self, and then as your external self, make a copy. That copy, I believe, then will be owned by your outside Google account, not by the Halton Cloud. So I know it's a bit of a rigmarole, and maybe you can do that with folders. I'm not sure. You'd have to try it or Google it and find out what's easiest. But I don't think that when you get in a doc, let's see, I think it's kind of difficult to transfer ownership of it. You can share it with people, but the problem will be that if you created it as your Halton self, Google self, then I'm not convinced that once that account dies, that even if you've shared it with your external self, that you'll still have access to it. So, and I know you may be thinking, oh, what would I ever do with all my high school stuff? You never know. In second or third year university, you're an English major, so you kept all your English stuff, but all of a sudden, for some random reason, you're taking a social science course and something in here, you remember back and you think, oh, there was that article I used in that class. What the heck was that called? Um, it might be helpful to have access to this stuff. So I would say it's probably worth the time to start warehousing it on both sides. That's just a piece of friendly advice as you graduate. All right. Hopefully this helps. Bye.